In the mid-20th century, the United States believed it understood war. It believed it understood power, and it believed that its strength, economic, military, and technological, would guarantee victory wherever it chose to intervene. But Vietnam changed everything. For the first time in modern history, a global superpower, armed with the most advanced weapons on Earth, was defeated by a nation far smaller, far poorer, and far less equipped. This is the story of why America lost the Vietnam War. A story not of weakness, but of misunderstanding, miscalculation, and the limits of power itself. When American troops first arrived in Vietnam, they expected a familiar kind of conflict. Clear front lines, large battlefield engagements, territory gained, territory lost, a war measured by body counts and decisive victories. America prepared to fight World War II all over again. Planes dominating the skies, tanks rolling across open fields, and a well-supplied army crushing its opponents head-on. But Vietnam did not offer that kind of war. There were no front lines, no safe zones, no predictable battles. The jungle swallowed sound, the villages hid fighters, and the enemy chose when to fight and when to vanish. To the Americans, it felt like fighting shadows. To the Vietnamese, it felt like defending their home. Vietnam's terrain was not just difficult, it was hostile. A thick, humid world of vines, insects, and monsoon storms. Boots rotted, weapons jammed. Helicopters struggled through violent rains. Visibility shrank to meters. To American soldiers, the jungle was a nightmare. But to Vietnamese fighters, it was a shield. They moved silently beneath the trees. They blended into the landscape. They used the canopy, the mud, and the darkness as weapons. And beneath the ground lay something the United States never fully understood. The tunnels, hundreds of kilometers of underground passageways. Cities hidden beneath the earth, complete with hospitals, sleeping quarters, workshops, supply routes. A world untouched by airstrikes and invisible to advanced American reconnaissance. America controlled the sky. Vietnam controlled the ground beneath it. American soldiers were brave, but many did not fully understand why they were there. For them, the war was ideological, a mission to stop the spread of communism during the Cold War. But for the Vietnamese, the war was not ideological. It was personal. It was survival. It was independence. The Vietnamese fought for their home, their families, their land, and their future. Their parents had fought the French. Their grandparents fought the Japanese. They had been resisting foreign powers for generations. To them, America was simply the next invader to defeat. A U.S. general once said, "In a guerrilla war, the winner is not the army with the most firepower, but the army that can endure the longest." The Vietnamese were prepared to endure anything America was not. American leaders believed numbers would secure victory. More bombs, more troops, more helicopters, more firepower, but they misread everything. They believed high enemy casualties meant progress, but for the Vietnamese, sacrifice was part of the struggle. Every village destroyed, every son lost, only strengthened their will to continue. They believed advanced technology would break morale, but the jungle neutralized technology. Helicopters couldn't see the enemy. Tanks couldn't move through the mud. Airstrikes hit empty forests. They believed superior training would guarantee dominance, but the Vietnamese knew every river, every hill, every path. Above all, America misunderstood the Vietnamese people. They mistook poverty for weakness. They mistook simple weapons for simple strategy. They mistook determination for desperation. History proved them wrong. In many ways, America succeeded militarily. They won most major engagements. They inflicted heavy casualties. They controlled the air. But Vietnam was not a war of winning battles. It was a war of not losing the will to fight. America measured progress through numbers. Vietnam measured progress through survival. The U.S. expected victory to come quickly. Vietnam expected the war to last decades if necessary. And so, America won on the battlefield, but lost in the grand strategy. Because victory in Vietnam was never about firepower, it was about endurance, patience, purpose. As the conflict dragged on, the true collapse did not happen in the jungle. but in the United States. Television brought the horrors of war into American living rooms. Villages burning, soldiers wounded, children fleeing explosions, public trust eroded, protests erupted across universities. Congress questioned the war, confidence in the government shattered. A democracy cannot fight a long war without the support of its people. Vietnam understood this. America learned it too late. By 1973, U.S. forces withdrew. By 1975, Saigon fell. The world watched as a small nation, through endurance and unity, defeated a superpower. So why did America lose? Not because it lacked strength, not because its soldiers were weak, and not because it failed to win battles. America lost because it misunderstood the nature of power. Power is not measured in bombs dropped or weapons deployed or money spent. Power is measured in will, in unity, in the ability to endure suffering for a purpose greater than oneself. Vietnam had that. America did not. Vietnam fought for survival. America fought for strategy. One side needed victory. The other merely needed to avoid defeat. And in the end, the side with purpose, with patience, with unbreakable resolve, won the war. The Vietnam War remains one of the greatest lessons in modern history. A reminder that technology alone cannot win a war, that strength without understanding becomes weakness, and that even the most powerful nations can fall when they underestimate the human spirit. Because in the jungles of Vietnam, the battle was not decided by weapons, but by endurance. And endurance belonged to the Vietnamese people.